Hello and welcome to the channel. For those of you who are new here and for those of you returning, welcome back. Today we're going to do a little walkthrough of Normandy 44, and this is a Mark Simonich game, and we're going to do the extended example of play. I want to learn this game, so I always like to do the extended examples of play. So I figure I'm just going to go through this with you guys, tagging along, and see what we do and see how this game plays out. Now this is, I've read the rules a little bit, so I've gone through them once, but of course, you know, the first time you read through them isn't quite sunk in your head yet, so I probably will be making mistakes, so feel free to leave some corrections in the comments below if you like. That would be perfectly fine. But other than that, we're just going to go through everything and see how we do on this extended example of play. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a special turn at the beginning is the invasion turn, and the allies get a special turn. So we're going to do that first. So what we want to do is we want to take care of some paratroopers. Now we have some here and here, Americans, and over here we have some British paratroopers dropping in here. So we want to take care of them too, but we'll come on over here and zoom onto this area first. Okay, so we have our paratroopers right here, and we're going to start out with the 507th here. So what we do is we want to see if they scatter. So on the 507th, we're going to roll a dice here, and we get a 2 result on that. So when we look on our scatter table, the 507th is actually part of the 82nd Airborne. So when we look over here, 2 is scatter 2. So what that means is that our unit here takes 1 damage, and then it's going to take another one. Okay, so we're going to replace that with a cadre of the airborne here. And we place a scattered on that. And this airborne is actually going to go to the cadre to replace the one that we took off there. That's sort of the holding cell of it. And we're going to add 1 to our replacement, which I'll show you here in a minute as far as that goes. So the next one we have is the 506 of the 82nd Airborne. So we're going to roll a die for that, and we end up with a 5. So we look down the 82nd on number 5. That is just a scatter. So that's a good result for that one. So then we'll look at the 508 for the 82nd. We'll roll the die on that one. That one also results in a 2. So again, we're going to take 2 damage off that one. We don't have to look it up because we know exactly what happened with that. And we're going to drop in an airborne cadre here and a scatter. Okay, so they didn't fare too well over here, that's for sure. So now we'll try the 101st Airborne here. We'll try the 502 first. We're going to go ahead and roll a die for that. And that also gets a 2 roll on the die. So when we look down on the 101st, a 2 is a scatter 1. So this unit will get flipped. And it will also get a scatter. Let's go for the 506th of the 101st. That one got a 6. And we looked on the 101st 6th, no damage. So this guy made it there safe and sound. 501 of the 101st. They got a 1. That's not good. 101st, the 1 is scatter 2. So just like before, this one comes off. We get another scatter. And we replace that with a cadre. So as you can see on the cadre display here, we have our 282nd Airborne here and our 101st here. So these take the place of the ones that are on the map, and we'll bring them back in when we get reinforcements. And as you can see on our record track here, we have 2 replacements and we add 2 more. So we have 4 replacements so far. Now this only happens on the first turn that we get the replacements for our airborne. So this normally is not moving too much with them, but on the first turn, as I understand it, we get those replacements. Okay, so the next one we're going to resolve is Utah Beach here, our invasion coming in here. So let's take a closer look. Okay, so our first thing is to move the Utah Beach units close to the shore there. They're going to be attacking this. And we use a special invasion combat. So the result for these 2 are going to be taken care of on the invasion combat result table. And then the tanks are going to be determined by the DD tank table. So first we're going to roll for our 2 guys here that are invading into the beach. And we get a 4. So over here on our Utah Beach, a 4 is A1, D1, advance 2. The A1 is the attacker loses 1, the defender loses 1, and then we advance onto the beach 2 hexes. So the step loss eliminates our strong point here, so that is gone. And then we take one of our units and flip him on over. The other one comes in okay. And we can advance 2. So the first square is the beach, and then we're going to advance the stronger unit up to there. Now for the tank, we're going to roll for the tank. And the tank did not fare so well. It got a 1 roll onto the beach. So on the tank, a 1 to 3 is 1 step, 4 to 6 is nothing. So 1 step result. So now our tank flips over to a 1 step, but it can still advance the 2. So we're going to bring him on in and reinforce this paratrooper unit here. That's our invasion for Utah Beach. Okay, so next to Utah Beach is Point Ad Hoc. And the 2nd Rangers will go in. It's sort of a special unit here in a special situation here, but the Rangers go in to try and take out that stronghold. That's our 2nd Rangers, and their die roll ends up being a 4. Using our center column here, we see that a 4 is A1, D1, advance 1. The strong point is eliminated. Our Rangers come in at a reduced strength, but they advance 1 onto the beach. Then for our 5th Rangers, we're going to roll a die, and we get a 5. So historically, these Rangers were supposed to come onto this beach, but they got confused and they ended up coming into Omaha. So this is reflected by that die roll. So a 1 to 3 allows them to come onto the beach. 4 through 6 gets them diverted over to Omaha. So we'll just place them here to come in on the follow-up. So our next beach is Omaha right here, and we're going to have 2 different dice rolls for both these units here coming on. So we'll slide that a little bit closer here. And this is Charlie Dog that's coming in, and it's the 29th, and they're going to roll. So let's see what happens here. And the 29th gets a 1, which is really, really bad. So going over to the table, we look at the Omaha, and the number 1 is A1 with a little asterisk. What that asterisk means is that the attacker loses 1 and they have to re-roll. So our attacker is going to lose 1. So we'll reduce this 1 guy down. Then we're going to roll for our tank here. So we roll a 2, and the tank also takes a step loss. So we have 2 units on here that have a step loss now. So now we have to roll again, and we're going to roll. This time we get a 6, which would have been wonderful the first time if we got that, because that's an attacker loses 1 and the defender loses 1, but you get to advance 2. So the stronghold leaves, and we're going to take this one and we take another loss, a step loss on this unit here. So they can only advance 1 because after that 1 that we had to re-roll, Part of the asterisk is that even if you get an advance 2, they can only advance 1. So now we'll try the 1st infantry here. Move them on up. See if I can do this without messing up that stack. Sort of. All right. Move it on up. And we're going to roll. And we get a 2. So this goes away. And we get to advance. But we take a step loss there. And a step loss on that one too. And because we only have an advance 1, we can only go to the beach. So now we're going to roll on our tank. And we get a 4. So there's no step loss. So our tank comes in at full strength, which is a plus. But this was a costly beach. We had 3, 4, 5 units. Total of 5 steps lost in these units right here just on Omaha Beach. So that was extremely costly invasion there. Next, we're going to move on over to Gold Beach here. But before I do that, I thought I'd point out this little line that's running down here. You see what's got the American flag and the British flag. And this line means that the Americans stay on this side of the map, the British stay on this side of the map. You can cross over a little bit. I think it's 1 or 2 squares, but I'm not sure on that. So if somebody knows, please leave a comment. But that's all you can do. So the Americans stay on their side of the map fighting, while the British fight on their side of the map. So now we're going to head on over here to Gold Beach. All right, so Gold Beach, done the same way as all the rest. Our invasion groups move up. We're going to do jig first. Beach, we get a dice roll of 2, which is attacker loses 2, defender loses 1, but they do advance. So the stronghold is gone, but we lose 2. So again, rather costly invasion there. And then for our tank, we get a 4. So no loss there. The tank gets to move on up. Now at Kings Beach here, we're going to roll. And we get a 6, which is good for the Allies. So we check our results. A 6 is D1, advance 2. So this gets destroyed. And we get to come in 1 there. And we're going to advance this one 1 square further. Now we're going to roll for our tank. And the tank roll is a 6. So the 6 is no effect. So we can just move our tank in, and we're also going to advance that 2 to keep up with this unit right here to get further onto the beach. Make room for these reinforcements that will be coming. Our next group is Juno Beach. And we're going to do Mike's. Die roll is a 2. So when we check our other column, a 2 is exchange and advance 1. An exchange means that the German and Ally players can pick out which ones they want to lose. So the German player has no choice. The Ally player is going to reduce one of these. It doesn't matter which one gets reduced because they're both the same. Place them right there. And because it was only an advance 1, we just go to that beachhead there. Now we'll roll on our tank. Our tank gets a die roll of 1, which not had very good luck with armor because we seem to always lose some part of that. So our tank also loses a step. Our next units are going to move on up. This is Nan. So we get a dice roll of 1, which on the other invasion table is A2, D1, advance 1. So we lose the stronghold. Again, we're going to take it off the paratroopers and this group here. Now roll for the tank, and we get a 5. 5 is no loss, so our tank comes in at full force. Continuing down the beach, we're going to come in at sword here. So Queen's Beach will roll, and that's sword, but it's also Queen's Beach we're going into. We finally got a good roll. We got a 6. The 6 results in a D1, advance 2. So we're going to leave the 6-4 on the beachhead, and we're going to advance this group, the 1SS, in for our 2 advance right there. Now we're rolling our tank, see how that fares. That gets a 4. So that our tank gets to land on the beach with no loss, and we're going to also move that up 1 more. Now, generally we have zones of control. Other units will cause zones of control, and we do have a zone of control lock, generally with 2 units between each other. They form a bond there, a zone of control bond. However, all of these units here with the white line going around them have no zone of control. This unit would have a zone of control right here, but these units, all with the white, have no zone of control. So these are free to move in and about, all of these without any blocking. All right, so we finally made it to our paratroopers here, our British paratroopers. So we're going to see how the 6th fares in all of this. So we'll roll for this one first. That's a nice 6, which is no effect. So this one landed perfect. That hex at full strength. The 5th has a die roll of 3. For the 6th, a die roll of 3 is scattered. So this unit didn't lose anything, but they are scattered. Now for the 8/3 unit, they were not so lucky, they got a 1. Looking at our scatter table, again a 1 underneath the 6th is scatter with 1 loss. So that unit takes a loss and gets scattered. So outside of this 1 loss, that wasn't really a bad landing over here by the British. They must be better paratroopers than those Americans are. They've trained a little bit more. So we come on up to our general records track, and we look here and we find our paratroopers for the British, and we have 1 replacement coming in for them. Because again, on that first turn, we get that. So we have 4 coming in for the Americans, 1 coming in for the British. Okay, so at this point, our special turn is over for the invasion turn for the Americans and British, the Allies. And we're going to move on to turn number 2 for the Germans. And I think this might be a good place to stop and take a pause. And we're going to go ahead and pick this up in our next video. And we'll play out the Germans' turn and the Allies' turn 1.